And the next session is all about basically we all are aware about the malware, how malware is impacting us, and what are the main targets of malware. So since basically most of the user bases lives around what we say the Windows operating system, so mostly the malwares are targeting those Windows operating system. So in this session what we are going to talk about is basically the how Windows basically works, what are the basic functionalities, and whatever discussion has been done in the last sessions, okay, mostly in a static dynamic or whatever we have done. So all of them somewhat were revolving around the same theme, that was the basic behind the Windows operating system. Means what is the coding scheme of the Windows operating system, how it works, how the processes are run upon those system. So once we are able to know the basic coding, how it is implemented, what are the different functions it provides, so it will be easier for us to come up with the host based indicators. Okay, so whenever you are going to work with some, like suppose signature based IDs or something, like a pattern based IDs, or in the first session I talked about the call for graph. Okay, so any of the approach that you are working on, suppose you are working on some research topic around this based on the pattern of the API calls or the frequency of API calls, you are basically designating a file as anomaly or malicious. So those kind of things can be basically only be interpreted once we are familiar with the working of the operating system. Okay, and here we are basically mostly concerned about the Windows operating system. So today's our lecture is basically centered around the basic coding scheme, the implementation, how the functions or what are the functions are there, how they are being represented. So we will be talking about this thing. So this is the outline of the session. So we will be talking about the API, the file systems, the registry. So most of the time we were talking about API registries, but I know a few of the participants are at intermediate level, but I got a communication from various participants that we are even starting in this field, they are starting their research in this field. So few of the session was like somewhat advanced, we can say. So they were unable to grasp those things. So actually this FDP we cannot control the label here. So the the thing that we can say, we try to have the experts from various levels so that diversity should be there. So each of the candidates who are participating in the FDP, at least they should get some kind of, or to some extent they should get some knowledge. So this session is all about the APIs, the file system functions, the Windows registry, the networking APIs that we have already talked about earlier. So we will be basically detailing over these functions, and we will be talking about the processes, threads, and how DLL injection, process hollowing, process injection works. So these things we will be talking about this in this section. So now the first we will be starting with the Windows API. So we all know what this Windows API is. So this API works like a kind of if you look at this diagram, so you have the application and there is a hardware. Okay, so you cannot interact with the hardware directly, so you need some low level instruction set, and that is implemented closer to the hardware, and that will be basically residing in the part where that we the part we call it as kernel. And even the kernel you cannot directly basically interact. We cannot means we should not allow any application to directly uh, connect with the kernel due to security concerns. So to maintain a trade-off or safety trade-off, this Windows has developed some APIs, and also this directly using the kernel might not be friendly. So that's why many APIs have been developed for each of the tasks. Okay, so basically this Windows API is having very rich set. Mostly most of the functionality that you will require, you will get some kind of API for that task. Okay, So the API provides us a consistent interface for system level tasks through files, process, networking, and registry. Okay. Now, if we talk about the Windows API data types, it is similar to what we have in C, C++, or any programming language, but in terms of interpretation, okay, so they have somewhat made a typecast of this one. So they have the typecasted those values. So suppose in case of integer, okay, it is the word here, long integer or unsigned integer. So basically based on that, this word and d word, double word boolean for binary value, okay, true false. Handle is a kind of pointer, we can say, okay, so the pointer to an object, we can say, okay. This lp string, so this is the pointer, long pointer to non-terminated string. So these are something represented in terms of type type def, or we can say type, uh, 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 different names of the core C data types, okay, at different levels. Okay. Now apart from this data types, we will talk about what are the other things. So okay, let me just, yes, we will be talking about that one also in the next slides. So let's first talk about the handles. Handles are very important in this context of malware analysis or program analysis, not only the malware. So these handles are nothing but a kind of a function pointer or a pointer, we can say, okay. So basically these handles will be used to manipulate, it is a kind of pointer in C. So whenever you have the value in the pointer, you can manipulate the value directly, accessing the address. So that is how this handle is there here in this case, in case of Windows. So the handles can be used for malicious purposes. So like process injection, है ना? You can obtain a handle to target process, means some process is running and you can obtain a handle to that target process, okay. uh, like a get address or create address, something like those functions we will be looking into. And after getting the handle, you can, once you got the handle, means the starting address of a process, you can inject some code into a particular area of that running process. So that's how the process injection works. So there are other things like process hollowing and other things. So the file system evasion, so basically uh, what happens, many of the times you might have heard about the thing like uh, whenever ransomware, if I talk about the ransomware, you might have seen uh, whenever the ransomware is encrypting your data, okay. So while encryption is going on, your antivirus might fail to basically delete that ransomware encryption, or it will not be able to prevent it. And that is because this particular in file system evasion, the malware creates an handle, okay. And those handles will remain open till the encryption is done. So like suppose we have created a dynamic memory, है ना? And then what will happen if we do not free the that dynamic memory? So that will be a kind of dangling pointer, है ना? So that way this once the handle is open, so no that antivirus cannot basically perform a lock on your file, so that it can either kill that process, it can basically delete the process. So to prevent that uh, antivirus operation, many of the malware, that particularly the ransomware, it tries to basically keep open some handle, and then uh, that will prevent antivirus operation on that ransomware malware, okay. Then basically it basically manipulate the windows, okay. The it can also tamper with the registry. We will be seeing about the registry in detail, okay. And so it is a kind of pointer, the this H stands for handle, okay. And now the next few bytes represent to which context this handle is applicable. So this is window handle. Okay, means again it is a pointer, but it is pointer to some window. Okay, so this is one just a small quiz. In Windows internal, what is the primary difference between a handle and a pointer? So can you tell me what will be the basic difference and what will be the answer of this question? Anyone? Okay. So it is this handle is a kind of abstract reference that will be managed by the OS, while a pointer refers to a direct memory address. So yes, exactly. Yes, it is three. Now, acha, one more thing I just missed here. So basically, whenever we talk about this file system evasion, can you come up with suppose I'm saying that some process is basically malicious and it is opening some handle, okay, handle that is reading writing. File system means some reading writing operation is there. So if I ask if I ask you to basically what will be the process to basically analyze whether that uh, the process itself is malicious or not, could you come with some idea what kind of tools we can use here? Any tool that you have learned earlier? Can you suggest me any tool for this one, file system evasion? And so basically, suppose in terms of ransomware we are having, and now uh, it is basically having open handle, and the process is not closing that handle. Unless it close, your antivirus won't be able to work there. It will have to wait. It won't be able to attain any lock on the file. So what are the different techniques that we can use here? Idea. Yes, for the dynamic analysis. Uh, in context of dynamic analysis, what PE info, and yes, PE info or PE explorer we can use. Huh? So PE explorer, if you remember, we have discussed in PE explorer, P, we have to basically look for two three things. One, you will have to look for uh, the suspicious process, because again it is all about filtering. We cannot go for all the process running on our system. First we will have to contain, basically filter out some of the potential suspicious files, and then we will work further operation on that one for further analysis on that one. So the one tool that we have already talked about was the process explorer. That we can basically look for the suspicious file names, okay, that seems unintuitive. Okay, now you can just click that if you remember, the image tab was there in the properties, one image tab was there, isn't it? And the image tab, the one particular uh, functionality we talked about was the verify button, है ना? So if you click for the verify button, है ना, and if it is verified, you will get to know that this is the authentic files. Some organization has already authenticated this file, so it might not be malicious. While the other uh, source of information could be the way this read write operation is going on. So if suppose on some file uh, parallelly all the things are going on, like they are saying ki, read it, write it, those flags are basically set on that one, and continuously those read write operation is going on for hundreds of times or thousands of times. So in the process explorer itself, so basically let me just show you here. So basically, if you click on some of the file, suppose some of the uh, suppose I'm clicking on this one. Okay, now uh, this is verified by some this I'm talking about this verify button. Okay, so if that file is not verified by someone, what you can do, you may just verify get it verified. Like suppose some of the file, I'm not running any file, so I might be running some exe. Just let me run the exe. Anything urgent? I'm from publishers. Actually, I'm having some FDP. We may talk later. Tomorrow. Sure. Thank you. So some tools might be there. So anyway, what I'm saying, trying to say is, you will have to just check for the flags. Okay. So in the handles uh, itself, you can check for the files. Just look at here. Okay. If there are so many files opened by a particular hundred, if there are hundreds of files opened by some particular process, so that might be one, we can say one point of suspicion. So you may further explore that part. Okay, so the one thing was the verifying that part, and the other one is this one. The other way around could be that process monitor. So in the process monitor, if you recall, we had this filtering options. Okay, and if you all we all know that we are talking about the file system, so definitely there will be some read write operation. So that is the create file, read file, write file. These are some function calls, the functions that you will be getting. Like in case of ransomware, so continuous overlapping of this create file, read and write file. If you are getting if you are getting so many read write file in sequence, so that will be a kind of one indication for this ransomware. So you can filter it on the function calls. Okay, so maybe here some operations, based on the operation you can basically apply what operations you want to check, and based on that you will basically like create or something. So for this example it is not there, so okay, first we will have to capture it, then only it will show. And based on that filter value, whatever files you are getting in your reduced set, you just will have to check for in sequences. Okay, so that could be the another way to analyze the file for this ransomware kind of thing. Okay, now, if we talk about the Windows file systems, so the file system could provide us enormous number of indication about the malicious intents. Okay, like suppose someone is creating a file and that file is logging the browser history. So by looking at that file, or the means what kind of data it is storing, we can basically analyze the file, and we can figure out what kind of basically purpose that file is serving. So the way the file is created and what type of information it is logging, so we can get a clue out of that one. Okay, now the functions that we are having, so that create file, read file, write file, create file mapping, map view of file. Okay, so basically create file will be basically used in conjunction with uh, in means for creating a file, opening a file. It can be used in conjunction with pipes. Okay, it could be named pipes. Okay, it could be used with devices to create a device point. Okay, likewise, read write is there. The create file and map view of file, it is a very interesting API. this Windows. This just before the session, we were having a discussion on this Windows loader. Okay, so the someone is talked about this fileless malwares, है ना? So fileless malwares. So uh, in order to get that fileless malware kind of scenario, we use these two functions in a such a way that even without writing some DLL on a disk, we are directly loading it in the main memory. Okay, so basically what this create file mapping does is it basically create a file mapping, means it creates a mapping of the file that is residing on main memory. Okay, and once the file mapping is done, this map viewer file will get the pointer again. Hello.
Sir, your screen is not
Okay,
showing.
okay, let me. So I got disconnected.
No, sir, you are connected, but this your PPT is not showing.
Okay, thank you. Hmm. I hope now it is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So I was basically talking about this. I was basically talking about the file system APIs. So this create file and read write files. So these are the basic operations. But I was talking about the create file mapping and map viewer file. So these are the two functionalities that can be used to implement the concept of that what we talked about, the fileless malwares. Okay, and it also can mimic the functionalities of your Windows loader. So if malware wants to avoid the Windows loaders, because the Windows loader is basically on radar of every antiviruses or other security tools. So if they want to avoid this Windows loader, they can use these two combinations to basically perform or to perform the equivalent operation of Windows loader. And also the notion of fileless malware can be performed using these two combinations. Okay, and if you ask me how it can be achieved, so basically it uses the create the virtual allocation and then writing the process in memory. So those function API it uses to basically achieve task. Okay, so basically, whenever we talk about the malware analysis, our focus is to identify suspicious file operations. Okay, like what kind of file they are basically looking, means manipulating, creating, or what kind of data it is logging. Okay, so whether that file is having some persistence mechanism or not. Okay, so those kind of function or understanding will definitely help us in our analysis. Now, if we talk about the create file function, so there are different parameters of this create file operation. It works with by creating the new file with named pipes. Okay, so like socket we have, and whenever we sockets are basically the a kind of pipes, they can uh, act like that one. The streams, the IO device. Okay, and the key parameter of this create function is the creation disposition, means how you want to basically create your file, means the file that will be created, how you want to create them. Okay, so these the parameter values are basically the create new, you want to create a new file. If you want to open the existing one, or the other, like if you want to open existing or create new, so open always, like these are the various disposition value that we can provide with the, to this create file function. Okay, now the read write file, it is the stream operation, stream based operation. So basically we know from C plus plus, whenever we are having some stream operation, so till whatever point we have read, the next time you are calling that read write function, they will read just after that one. So this is how this read write operation, the function will work. But for this API. Okay. Now this is what I was talking about, the create mapping and map viewer file. So if we talk about this create mapping, so what happens? So this loads a file from disk to memory. So load file means it is not physically copying the file into the memory, rather it will create a virtual map of the file rather bringing the file into the main memory. Okay. And then once the file is mapped, you will have to get where it was mapped in virtual space. Okay. And once you have the pointer to that virtual address, you can easily by using that pointer you can directly manipulate the address space of that particular process. So if you get this idea correctly, you can imagine how process injection and other activities can be done, or how the fileless malware can be basically attained. Okay. So basically the map viewer file means maybe your file, your DLL, suppose some malicious DLL is there, and that malicious DLL is there uh, encrypted or packed into some exe file, so it does not have any independent existence on the disk. But when we create a file map of that particular exe, we will get the process mapped in the virtual space, and now out of those virtual space, this map view will get you the pointer to the base address, and from there you will just look for what part of that particular process you want to execute, and there comes the fileless term. So basically your DLL was there on the disk, but it was not existing independently, rather it was part of some exe. So we cannot say it was existing there itself. Now you have extracted from the virtual space and you have run it. Okay. So that way this motive is attained. So this is what in memory modification means. Okay. So we are not writing the DLL into the disk, rather we are directly mapping it to the virtual space, extracting from that particular exe. Okay. So this is how it works. So whenever we call this create file mapping from the disk, it will have the file mapped into the virtual space, virtual memory. Okay. And your map view of file will get the base address of your virtual space, and then again it is just a matter of iterating over that virtual space and getting all the contents from that virtual space. Okay. So file mapping means that is what I was talking about. You can basically go by those contents of the file, है ना? You can read write anywhere because you have the pointer to the whole virtual address. So that memory management will help you to basically read write directly the file into the disk. Okay. It will be fetched from the disk directly using the virtual memory, and it is not being loaded directly in the main memory, rather it is accessing it through the virtual space only. Yeah. Now apart from this one, we in Windows we are having special files. Okay. So those special files are in terms of, we can say, let me just open this one. So basically, let me just first go through this special files. Okay. So these special files are, you can think of it like a kind of file that is not directly accessible, or we cannot directly access these files Rather, there are some, means if you want to list these files, you won't be able to directly list them in your windows. Rather, there are a special mechanism to get it done. Okay, this means we can say these are the hidden files. Okay, so that is basically used for different special purposes. Okay, so these special files won't be basically captured or won't be available to mostly the antivirus tools. So uh, if someone is operating upon this special file, it will be very difficult to get it detected by your antivirus or your defender or any other tools. So that's why most of the malware try to exploit these shared files. So the shared files are basically this special file can come in different category. The shared files, the namespace. The shared file means if we talk about the shared files. Okay, so this shared file, if I have this one, yes, it is there. Okay, so I might not be having that exact syntax for this one. So in the shared file, we are having two things. We can use the double backslash dot forward slash and your uh, server name or whatever from wherever. So shared file means you are having one shared space, and from there many of the users or many of the machine can directly share that file. And that if you can recall, uh, in case of FTP or whatever, we attain like this way. We provide the IP address and the file that we want to access. Okay, so we can directly use the file present on the shared network folders or server. We can directly access. So the same thing, the shared network folder, you might have seen in your windows network sharing. So there you have the shared files. Then again, the next one is the namespace files. Okay, so in the namespace files means we are having various uh, drives, we can say, uh, uh, file system we are having. The one file system is the NT file system. Okay, that is the top level hierarchy. And if I ask you what do you mean by this namespace, can you tell me first what is this namespace, what namespace does, and what is the purpose of this one? Anyone? So basically, namespace is a kind of, we can say, the hierarchy. Okay, so labeling the process. So namespace is all about the file system rather than the process. So suppose in case of C++, we use the namespace std. Okay, so to avoid the conflict of naming, we basically, it is a kind of labeling, we can say, but not about the process, but rather it is about the file systems. Okay, so basically, to avoid the overlapping or to avoid any name conflicts, it is divided into different subcategories. Okay, so those namespace comes into different part, means the one namespace might be dedicated to devices, the other could be the object manager, DOS devices. So there are various this namespaces are there, and within the purpose of each namespace is different. Like if you talk about the device namespace, so that will be specifically deal with the hardware devices. Okay, means whatever devices are there, whatever devices are running on your system. Okay, that may be your mouse, keyboard, that may be your hard drive. Okay, so that will be basically represented by this the namespace, device namespace. Okay, so likewise we are having other namespaces. Okay, and there around in 2004 there was one popular attack, that witty worm attack was there. Okay, so if you google for this one, witty worm attack, so it was a kind of attack that exploited the buffer overflow kind of thing. Not exactly that. It has wrote some garbage value into the file system directly. Okay, so what it did, it basically directly using this namespace, it directly accessed the physical disk of the machine. So, and by directly accessing that machine, each time it gets executed, some garbage value was written on the that different sectors of the disk or hard drive. So at eventually the drive broke down and the system collapsed, means the system got uh, off or crashed, we can say. So this VT worm attack was not on the normal user, but rather it was target toward I don't remember the exactly name of the service provider. It was some security service provider who was the victim of this VT worm attack. So means it was demonstrating that even the security softwares are not secure enough. So that was the one of the example that use this namespace to exploit this overflow attack. Okay, now if you want to just check for the different uh, special files, what are the special files that we are having. So either you can use the win object tool is there, and that will show you all the uh, special files, or we can go with the uh, command mount volume. Okay, and if you will look at here, so there are various drives that you cannot directly get it, means as at user level we can access the drives using the letters like C and D likewise, but those special these drives won't be basically accessible directly. And I'm talking about the mount, this mount volumes. So what are the volumes are there, and what, how many of them are mountable or how many of them are not mounted. So these informations are there. Okay, so if you get further detail of this one, just so we have the file system utility for this one. So you can go with the fs utility, fs info, and then the volume info of volume info, volume info, then the special drive. So we can simply write it we can directly go for this one, any of them we can go with. Suppose we just go for that one, and it will tell us uh, what kind of information you require. So you further provide the commands. If you are unsure about how basically you remember this command, fs util, you just click on this one, you will find what kind of operation or what kind of operation or detailing operations are there that we can basically perform. So I have just gone for this fs info. Okay, you can go for any others and you can explore what they will do. Okay, so I just talked about the file system information, there are others, so you can go with that one. And if you go further, this fs info, so it will tell you what kind of information you further required. So I went for this volume information, you can go with the others information. Okay, so based on your query you can just get into all the volume details. So these are basically kind of some special file, and this is how the special files are represented. And this question mark says that don't interpret this path, those don't interpret this string as a path. So you may basically have the name of this drive even more than 260 characters. So there is a standard limit on the characters of on the path name. But when you go with this question mark, okay, so it says to ignore it, means ignore the parsing of this string, and that will be treated as whole, the whole will be treated as a path. Okay, so just to ignore that one, this special file uses this exclamatory mark. Okay, now, so these are the prefix that we use. Okay, So this was the prefix by which that VT1 was executed. So it was double slash dot double slash, and then the physical disk name was there. Okay, and that got access to the raw disk where the malware wrote various garbage values in order to corrupt the system. So this was the one part. uh, okay, I missed something. Okay, the third one is the alternate data streams. So it is partition, so NTFS formatted system. So if we talk about the alternate data streams, so sometimes we try to hide the data in some existing files. So uh, like suppose I have written, sorry, what happened? So what happened? And if you want to basically list that file, so let me just go for that particular file that I have just created. So it is particular to this NTFS only. It won't work for ELF and others. I have created A1, A1. So this is the file that I have created. This is A1.txt, and there are 25 characters in this one, 25 bytes in this one. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to add some more information with the and let's see what happens there. Okay. So A1.txt. So now again just list them all. This is the file. है ना? So I have added something to this file, but still the file size is showing this 25. Why? This is termed as alternate data stream. Okay, and particularly if if you want to hide some data into a file without increasing the file size, we can basically go by this one. If you want to just check what is the actual size, so it won't be visible in normal directory listing. So for that we will have to basically list them recursively, means whatever files are hidden within that file, if you want to look for those recursive files within file, then only it will be visible. So if we go for this dir one, so you will find that recursively it has enumerated all the details, and you will now get to know that it is more than 25 bytes that is there in the file. So just look at here. So this was the actual one, and this is the hidden data that is having 8 bytes. So I have written hack. So based on that, these extra bytes have been added. Okay, so 25 plus 8 is now the total size, and this is what the content will. Even if I write, even if I directly open this a1.txt, so it is just like FDP on malware analysis, nothing else. You won't be able to find what I have additionally added here. Okay, so it won't be visible in your size. Okay, so at least under the normal directory visualization. But if you will go with this recursive directory option, it will show you the actual hidden files within that one. So this one is one kind of technique that is used on NTFS to hide the file inside the file. Okay, so for detecting this ADS, you may have the streams tool. You can apply the stream tool that is from sysinternals itself, and sysinternal is the authentic site from Microsoft. We can say, and other forensic tool you can use like Autopsy, just discussed earlier. You can go with the Autopsy or WinHex. Okay, so that will also let you know what are the alternate data stream inserted in the file. Okay, so. Uh, So till now, we have talked about the basically different APIs, the data streams, the namespace, special files we have talked about. Okay, and we have talked about the data types. Okay, the next topic that we are going to talk about is Windows registry. Okay, so Windows registry is basically, we can say, a kind of folder hierarchy. Windows registry has been echoing the all the session that we are talking about Windows registry. So what this Windows registry means? So Windows registries are nothing but a folder or file where Windows stores the OS or program configuration, है ना? So what means how the application will look like, what are the files that will get opened by that application. So all the configuration means what should be the size of the window when it will get opened, what will be the layout, what should be the color. So all the complete information will be residing in this Windows registry. So each of the program that we are having, that we are running on our system, each of them, for each of them, there will be entry in the registry. Okay, now, so 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 if you talk about the root key, so we are having five different root keys. So just let me so just look at here. These are the five registry keys. Okay. So each of them will have a different kind of information about this configuration and application details. Okay. We will be talking about this one later. So there are tools. There are basically five different keys, or we can say folder. Okay, so the first one is the classes root folder. Okay, so it is basically even though all of them are seemingly different, so basically there are two authentic means the two main we can say two main registry keys are there, the HKLM and HK user. Okay, HKU. So basically, and others are basically the virtual key into this one. So if we look at this one, current user, so the current user, uh, sorry, if you look at here, so all the current users, whatever users are there, corresponding to each of the user will be basically a pointer from this HK user. So this HK current user is not a separate folder or separate key, but rather it is a virtual key that is there in the or pointer that is present in the H key. Likewise, some of them are hybrid of that one. Okay, like classes root are hybrid of HKLM and HK user. So these are the five directories. Okay, each directory will have certain information, that is then what it contains, and that will mostly be name. If you recall from that DLL, the time we were looking at the DLL in the morning, I said you what will the name of the service, what will be the type of the service, and I have talked about what is the value, what will the value of the that particular service. So there we have set the DLL path, but it could be a path of any valid file or it could be any particular flag. Okay, so we will talk about this further. Okay, so this is what I was saying. Some keys are basically not actual keys, but rather they are virtual. Like a current user is basically mapped to HK user SID. So that is thing. So mostly whenever we use this short form, mostly we use it for HKLM and this HKU. Okay, HKCU. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of this registry then? So, whenever you want to run a program, you must register it or you must create an entry in registry. What is the purpose of that one? Can anybody tell me what will be the purpose of having an entry in registry for each program? Yes. So, basically, if your program has not been registered uh, till now, so you will have to basically uh, specify how that program will get opened or what are the associated files that will be opened by that application. So various other information will be there or from where that file will be opened. So for that purpose we need to basically create some entries in registry, but where we are going to create that entry that matters. And for persistency, if you remember, many of the time that Abhijit sir has also talked about कि अगर हमें persistency चाहिए, we need to add a key within this hive, है ना? So if we go for this particular part, what is so basically if you look at here, these are the applications that are currently registered as a persistence program. Means once the system will boot up, those programs will get basically registered. Okay, so we will have to basically go for current versions and then just look. Yeah. So Windows GT. So let me just go for this one. Okay. And then I think yes, this is the one. Okay, so this is saying what are the different programs that are registered as a persistent one. Okay, so this is talking about the Adobe, the Realtek, that audio device. Okay, and security health, some software is there, and how they are registered. Basically, this says that if it is registered as a string, so there might be multiple paths from where the file can be loaded based on the service source that is going to execute, means whatever instruction it receives. Okay, so these are the path from where it will get executed. Now suppose uh, many of the time like my uh, antivirus runs है ना, each time you boot up your system your antivirus get uh, executed. So this is what you will have to basically update. You want to just change the value, you just you may change the value. Okay, modify the value uh, uh, okay. So from here you will have to basically change the how it is going to be executed. So you will have to basically look for the flag, and then you will change how it is going to be uh, executed. Okay. Or you will have to just remove this entry from this part. If you delete this entry, that particular service won't be executed at the runtime, I mean at the boot time, sorry. है ना? So this is the one part. So the question is, why the Windows registry are frequent target for malware persistence? What is the reason behind that one? To it control both the system. Yes, yes, right answer. So basically, it is the two. It controls both the system configuration as well as whatever user settings have been applied to that particular application to execute. Those things are basically being saved there. So the same way malware tries to register their services or file there, and then they decide how it will get run. Okay. So yes, it is two. Thank you. Now, uh, the other you just talked about this auto run in the previous session. So the purpose of the auto run is to identify whether some of the changes have been made. Just for example, suppose notepad is intended to open the text file, or task manager is basically you are opening the task manager to kill some process. So the process this uh, some of the malware may basically change the associated files that it is opening. So sometimes what happens, you open the task manager but it opens a notepad. Okay. So for that, basically what you can do, you basically go for this registry. Let me just go for this. So we will go for that Microsoft, yes, then Windows NT we will have to look. Not Windows, we will go for Windows NT. And Windows NT we will have some current version. Mm, NT, correct. Okay, I'm in the current version. Now I will have to basically come for this particular one. Okay. So I'm talking about this particular key. Okay. Whatever files are listed here, so this shows means whenever you open this file, what associated uh, what operation should be get performed. Okay. So like suppose if there is some task manager or something, so notepad, I think. Okay, so this is notepad. Now just look at the notepad. So if you will look at the notepad, so whenever you click on notepad, which application will get loaded decided by this part. Okay. If you change this one, you each time you click on the notepad, it will open some other file. Okay. So that might be problem when the malware basically try to change these entries. Okay. Try to update these entries. So that can be captured, that can be basically captured by the auto runs. Okay. You can use that tool auto run. Okay. Now the which registry contain the machine wide configuration setting? Can you suggest the answer? Yeah. So just think of this answer. What will be the answer? And then there is the registry editor. We have just talked earlier. So the reg editor is there, and we have used the sc command to add, create, and whatever we have done in the previous session that we have talked about. Okay, so there are three things: name, type, and value, that we just talked about. So name is the value of the and the name of the entries, what could be the type of that one, and it may be the path or some flag or some value that will indicative of what it should do and where, from where it should do. Okay, so that is what we have talked about. Okay, then the common registry functions are basically these three. The reg open, whenever you are doing the yes local machine, correct, Rajesh? So basically, whenever we talk about the common registry functions, so basically that will be reg open key, reg set value, and reg get value. So in a static analysis, if you find something like this one, means you can get to know that some of the registry key is being opened, and the values, like the values of these three, name, type, and data, is being updated. Okay, or it may be read. So that might be a kind of API of this registry operation, so that might be a kind of suspicious one. Okay, so I'm just speaking skipping this one because we need some kind of assembly code example. So it is the assembly code example for just getting the persistency. Okay, so anyway, one more thing, that the registry, rather than executing that one, you can create a reg file, and directly double clicking on the reg file will basically update the content of the file in the registry. For but for that one, you will have to follow this format. You will have to provide what version you are using, in what directory you are going to in what registry key you are going to update this one, and from where you are going to update this one, what will be the value of. So this is the name of the registry key, this is the value of the registry key. Okay, so these things you will have to write, and just double clicking save the file and double click on that one, and it will update the registry file. So that way also the registry keys are being updated. So anyway, so what is the reg, the purpose of the reg file? Any answer for this one? Very good. So it is, no, it is basically two. Lakshmikant, yes, it is two. So basically, it contains the human readable format of what changes you are making, and that just after clicking, double clicking on that one, it will get merged into the that what we say into the registry key. Okay. So anyway, okay. So the next session, I think Sir has joined. So we will see if we can come up with some more things